Hello everyone, and welcome to Wisdom and Wealth, your sanctuary for insights on life, finance, and well-being, tailored for the discerning wisdom seeker. We're so glad you're here. Let me ask you something profound. When was the last time you truly experienced even a single moment without worry gently caressing your brow? Not pretending, not plastering on a smile to mask the pain, but genuinely feeling light, completely present, and utterly free. If you're like most of us, you're likely always waiting. Waiting for things to be perfect before you grant yourself permission to feel that sweet, elusive joy. But as we'll explore today, that perfect moment often remains just beyond our grasp. And if the content we provide resonates with you, and you feel you get value from it, be sure to click the like button and subscribe to our channel. We aim to provide you with content on a consistent basis. Buddhism offers a powerful counterpoint. It teaches us that true peace isn't a destination to be reached in the distant future. It's a state of being that can be cultivated right now, in this very moment. It's found when we consciously choose to stop running from ourselves, cease attempting to control the uncontrollable, and gently return to the core of what is truly real. Are you tired of living primarily in your head, perpetually trapped in a cycle of overthinking and anxiety? If you're ready to release the grip of worry and rediscover what it feels like to be truly alive, engaged with the world, and at peace within yourself, then the 7 lessons we're about to delve into may be precisely the gentle reminder your soul has been yearning for. These insights, drawn from the wisdom of Buddhism, offer a path towards reclaiming your inner peace and embracing a more fulfilling life. You'll experience life in a much fuller and gratifying way. And if the content we provide resonates with you, and you feel you get value from it, be sure to click the like button and subscribe to our channel. We aim to provide you with content on a consistent basis. Let's embark on this journey together, starting with a cornerstone of Buddhist philosophy, the present moment. One of the deepest and most transformative truths in Buddhism is that genuine peace, authentic freedom, and profound joy can only be found right here, in the present moment. This may sound deceptively simple, perhaps even cliché. But when you truly internalize it, when you allow it to permeate your being, it changes everything. The past, with all its regrets and missed opportunities, is gone. It exists now only as a collection of memories, experiences that have shaped you but no longer hold sway over your present reality. The future, with all its potential and uncertainties, hasn't happened yet. It resides solely in the realm of your imagination, a landscape of possibilities both exciting and daunting. Worry, however, operates outside the boundaries of time. It cunningly disregards the fact that the past is unchangeable and the future is unwritten. Instead, it pulls you into a mental whirlwind filled with what-ifs and maybes, constantly spinning worst-case scenarios, conjuring fears out of thin air, and convincing you that danger is always lurking just around the corner. And because you allow yourself to dwell on these manufactured fears, your body and mind begin to react as if they were genuinely real. Your heart races, your palms sweat, your muscles tense, even though you are completely safe and secure in this very moment. When you succumb to worry, you're not engaging with the reality of the present. You're essentially living in a future that hasn't transpired, suffering through events that exist only within the confines of your own mind. That's how remarkably potent thoughts can be. They possess the power to rob you of the very peace that already resides within you. But the instant you consciously bring your awareness back to what is truly happening, your breath as it gently flows in and out, the comforting sensation of your feet firmly planted on the ground, the tapestry of sounds that surround you, something profound shifts. Your nervous system begins to calm down. Your chest feels lighter. Your thoughts begin to slow their frantic pace because the present moment is not merely an abstract concept. It's a tangible place, a refuge, a sanctuary. It's the only space where life is actually unfolding. Everything else is merely noise, a distraction from the vibrant reality that exists right here, right now. And here's the most crucial realization: worry cannot thrive when you are truly present. It feeds on the fuel of imagination, on the endless possibilities of what might be. But it withers and dies in the face of stark reality. When you are fully grounded in the now, there is simply no space for the anxieties about what hasn't yet occurred. And if the content we provide resonates with you, and you feel you get value from it, be sure to click the like button and subscribe to our channel. We aim to provide you with content on a consistent basis. The mind may still attempt to lure you back into the familiar territory of worry. It may whisper insidious questions like, "What if tomorrow brings bad news?" But you can learn to gently respond, speaking back to it with compassion and wisdom, saying, "I don't need to solve tomorrow's problems right now. Right now, I am safe. Right now, I am breathing. And that is enough." With consistent practice, this conscious return to the present becomes easier and more natural. It evolves into your anchor, your home, your safest and most reliable place to be. And the more frequently you return to this present moment, the more deeply you realize that you were never meant to live in perpetual fear of the future. You were always destined to dwell in the boundless freedom of now. Another powerful lesson is that acceptance is not an act of giving up, rather, it's an act of granting yourself the permission to breathe. We often fall into the trap of confusing acceptance with weakness, interpreting it as a sign of surrender or a lack of ambition. We think that if we accept something difficult or undesirable, it means we've ceased trying, that we've somehow failed, or that we're giving up on the possibility of changing things for the better. But in Buddhism, acceptance is not about passively surrendering to helplessness or resigning yourself to a fate you dislike. Instead, it's about consciously letting go of the exhausting and ultimately futile need to control every single aspect of our lives. When you constantly resist what life brings your way, whether it's a painful loss, a frustrating mistake, an unexpected delay, or a seemingly insurmountable challenge, you inevitably create a state of internal tension within yourself. And that tension, that constant internal struggle, eventually manifests as suffering. Not because the situation itself is inherently unbearable, but because your mind is fighting against it so fiercely, expending precious energy in a battle it cannot win. Acceptance means perceiving reality with clarity and honesty, and simply acknowledging, this is what is happening right now. It doesn't mean you have to like it. It doesn't mean you don't care about the outcome. It simply means you choose to stop pretending that the reality you face isn't real. You stop pouring your valuable energy into wishing things were different, when in this very moment, they undeniably are not. And once you make that conscious choice to accept reality, something remarkable opens up within you. You stop clenching your fists in resistance. You stop fighting against the relentless tide of life. And in that moment of softening, of surrender, you can finally breathe again. Pause for a moment and consider how much mental and emotional pain arises not from the events themselves, but from our resistance to them. A relationship ends, and instead of allowing ourselves to grieve the loss, we obsessively question why it happened, how it could have been avoided, whether there's still a possibility of fixing it. We relive the past again and again as if we could somehow rewrite history simply by worrying hard enough. But the truth is, we can't. The past is immutable. And the more we resist what is, the more we inevitably suffer. Acceptance is that pivotal moment when you consciously choose to stop arguing with reality and instead allow yourself to feel whatever emotions arise, without judgment, without shame, without condemnation. That's when the true healing process can finally begin. This doesn't imply that you should cease striving to grow, improve, or positively influence your situation. It simply means you relinquish the expectation that life must perfectly align with your plans in order for you to experience peace. You gradually realize that lasting peace isn't the result of things consistently going your way, rather, peace is what happens when you release the ingrained need for things to go your way. Acceptance creates space within your mind and heart. Space for clarity, for wise action, for genuine rest, for heartfelt connection. It frees up the energy that was previously trapped in the endless and exhausting cycle of frustration, fear, and resistance. And in that expansive space, you can move forward, not with anxiety and desperation, but with understanding and compassion, not with the need to control, but with an unwavering sense of trust. Because you no longer feel the need to win against life. You simply need to walk with it, hand in hand, embracing both its joys and its challenges with an open heart. And if the content we provide resonates with you, and you feel you get value from it, be sure to click the like button and subscribe to our channel. We aim to provide you with content on a consistent basis. Another important idea to consider is that not every thought deserves your attention or your belief. The human mind is undeniably an incredibly powerful tool, capable of remarkable feats of creativity, problem-solving, and insight. However, it can also be an incredibly noisy and confusing place, a chaotic marketplace of fleeting ideas, memories, judgments, and anxieties. Every single day, thousands upon thousands of thoughts pass through your awareness, some helpful, many repetitive, and far too many rooted in fear, self-doubt, and crippling insecurity. One of the core teachings in Buddhism, and one that can dramatically shift your perspective on life, is the profound understanding that you are not your thoughts. This seemingly simple truth, when fully grasped and internalized, has the power to fundamentally transform your inner life. Just because a thought happens to appear in your mind doesn't automatically mean that it is true, valid, or deserving of your full attention. And it certainly doesn't mean that it warrants your unwavering belief. Worry, in particular, thrives on unexamined thoughts, on the unchecked assumptions and ingrained fears that flicker through your consciousness. It often begins with a single, seemingly innocuous whisper, "What if something bad happens?" And before you know it, you're spiraling down a rabbit hole of imagined worst-case scenarios, each more terrifying than the last. You suddenly feel anxious, unsafe, and deeply uncertain, not because anything real or tangible has happened, but because your mind has tricked you into believing a story that hasn't even come true. That's the inherent danger of blindly believing every thought you have. It can swiftly transport you away from the grounded reality of the present moment and into a self-made prison of fear, chronic stress, and debilitating emotional exhaustion. But here's what Buddhism teaches us, offering a path out of this mental labyrinth. The mind is like the vast and expansive sky, and your thoughts are like the clouds that drift across it. Some clouds are light and beautiful, adorned with the vibrant colors of sunrise, while others are dark and stormy, threatening to unleash a torrent of rain. But none of them are permanent, and crucially, none of them define the essential nature of the sky itself. The sky remains untouched, serene, and boundless, even when violent storms rage through it. In the same way, your true self, your essential awareness, is much deeper, calmer, and more resilient than the fleeting thoughts that pass through it. When you begin to observe your thoughts with a sense of detachment, instead of getting swept away by them, you develop what's known as mindfulness. You start to see thoughts for what they truly are, temporary mental events, not absolute truths, unshakable facts, or immutable reflections of your worth. So, when your mind tells you insidious lies like, "I'm not good enough," or "I can't handle this," or "everything is going to fall apart," you don't have to argue with it, panic in response to it, or desperately try to suppress it. Instead, you can simply pause, take a deep breath, and gently say to yourself, "This is just a thought. It's not a fact. I don't have to believe it." That simple act of awareness, that conscious separation between you and your thoughts, can effectively stop the chain reaction of worry before it even begins. And over time, with consistent practice, you start to create a sense of space between you and your thoughts. You no longer feel like a helpless victim, tossed about by every fear that rises within your mind. You begin to feel free, not because you've miraculously silenced your mind completely, but because you've stopped automatically obeying every story it tells you. The more you practice this mindful awareness, the more peace and equanimity you'll experience in your daily life. You'll still have thoughts, of course, as that's the nature of the human mind, but they won't carry the same emotional weight. You'll be able to notice them, acknowledge them, let them gently pass by like clouds in the sky, and return to the calm and centered presence that resides within you. That's precisely what mindfulness does. It trains you to live with conscious awareness instead of impulsive reactivity. It teaches you to stop letting your thoughts pull you in every which direction, scattering your energy and disrupting your inner peace. And when you master this inner stillness, worry no longer controls you. You become grounded, clear, and calm, not because life has suddenly become perfect and free from challenges, but because your mind no longer needs to be. Another concept to consider is that impermanence means your fear cannot last forever. One of the most profound and liberating teachings in Buddhism is the fundamental truth of impermanence, the understanding that everything in this life is constantly changing, evolving, and transforming. Nothing remains static, nothing stays the same. People grow, emotions shift, situations evolve, and even the very cells in our bodies are in a state of constant renewal. Just like the ever-changing seasons, every experience, whether it's positive, negative, or neutral, will eventually pass. And yet, when fear or anxiety takes hold, it often feels permanent, as though it will stay with you forever, a dark cloud that has completely enveloped your entire reality. But the truth is, no matter how overwhelming or suffocating the fear may seem in the moment, it will inevitably pass. It always does. Think back to the moments in your past when you felt utterly lost, consumed by anxiety, heartbroken, or profoundly uncertain about the future. At the time, those feelings might have seemed unbearable, as though you would never escape their grip. But here you are, years later. You survived those experiences. You made it through. And now, those same experiences live only in your memory, their emotional intensity significantly diminished by the passage of time. That simple fact alone proves something powerful: emotions, no matter how intense, are temporary. Even the deepest pain has a lifespan. And once you start viewing emotions in this light, especially worry and fear, you naturally begin to disidentify with them. You stop saying, "I am anxious," as though anxiety defines your entire being, and instead begin to understand, "I am experiencing anxiety." And like everything else in life, it will eventually pass. When you forget the truth of impermanence, you tend to panic in the face of difficulty. You feel as though things will always be this hard, this uncertain, this painful. But when you consciously remember the concept of impermanence, you create a crucial space between you and your suffering. You no longer see it as an intrinsic part of yourself, as something that defines your very existence, but as something that is merely visiting for a while, a temporary guest that will eventually leave. This is not simply a comforting idea or a philosophical abstraction. It's a fundamental spiritual truth that is reflected throughout nature, in the cycles of life, and in every single experience we go through. The storm doesn't last forever. The night always gives way to dawn. And even the heaviest and most overwhelming emotions eventually lighten with the passage of time. This understanding also helps you approach your emotions with more patience, gentleness, and self-compassion. You stop trying to rush the healing process or force yourself to feel better before you're truly ready. Instead, you learn to sit with your discomfort without fearing it, without resisting it, without judging it. You allow it to move through you like a wave, rising, peaking, and eventually receding back into the ocean. You learn to breathe with it, not fight against it. You trust the natural unfolding of the process because now you know with complete certainty that you are not stuck in this difficult place. You are simply experiencing a temporary moment of difficulty. And that moment, like all others, is already passing. So, when worry inevitably shows up at your doorstep, when your chest tightens, and your mind begins spinning stories about everything that might go wrong, take a step back from the whirlwind of thoughts. Gently place your hand over your heart. And remind yourself, with kindness and awareness, this is only a moment. It will not last. I have survived so many difficult moments before, and I will move through this one too. That simple reminder, spoken with a genuine sense of awareness and self-compassion, can bring incredible peace and calm to your inner world. Because when you stop fearing your fear and you start trusting in the natural order of impermanence, you unlock a kind of inner calm that no storm can shake. Remember, if the content we provide resonates with you, and you feel you get value from it, be sure to click the like button and subscribe to our channel. We aim to provide you with content on a consistent basis.